An elk essentially consumes as much forage as a cow. It's super close. So for every one increase in elk that is habitually on a ranch, it's essentially a one decrease in the amount of cow feed available for cows. I think some huge points on elk is elk season is 6 weeks in Montana with a rifle. That doesn't mean elk only live on a ranch for 6 weeks. So as a rancher, you deal with them all year long.
We have more and more elk all the time. The crazy mountains here to the west of us are chock full of elk, 150, 200% over objective, and they're trickling this way in a pretty steady manner. And so, as a result of that, our numbers have grown substantially. I decided to become an outfitter and start offering hunting trips to people to come out and try to harvest a bull elk, and it's kind of helps offset some of the money that you lose grazing wise to the elk. A little bit of background on it: I went and guided hunters for another outfitter for several years. I grew up hunting. Dad has taken me out since I was old enough to hunt, and so you got to have that kind of interest in it, obviously too. But and then I was just kind of getting ready to come back to the ranch, and it's tough to bring in another family without some sort of extra income, and so that just kind of went hand in hand. A lot of country out here with a lot of animals on it, so it made sense.
Yeah, and I think hunting management is another tool for ranchers to use, is from an economic standpoint of leasing or outfitting or state-run or NGO-run access programs of sign your acres up for this hunting program at this rate, or charge clients this much at this rate, or however it works best for you and your ranch to set that up. There's some other interesting pilot programs being put out from the wildlife industry of basically trying to pay for ranchers to host elk. If they can track how many elk are on their ranch at any one time, they can submit a claim for a repayment based on those days. So there's some different things being trialed from like the public perception side of it to try to mitigate elk damage. Because from a public hunting standpoint, I think people love elk and love having elk around. So reductions in elk usually are being asked for from the landowner side, and usually from the sportsman and public side, it's only more elk.
Yeah.
And so every state does hunting different, but Montana has had a 6-week rifle season, a 6-week archery season, and in different areas they've added another month of cow-only rifle seasons to try to reduce breeding populations of elk. So elk are exploding in Montana. There's a few other states across the west, parts of Montana that is, like central Montana has had a huge increase in elk in the last even just 5 years. So there's been a big change in the available tags, the available classes. Like some tags used to only be good for bulls, they're now good for bulls and cows. So there's a lot of response to changes in elk. And we've even had some fairly drastic changes in what they've made available as far as elk tags, but they average a 20% success rate between rifle and archery tags. So if they put out 2,000 tags, it's only 100 elk. So really what it's turned into is a huge increase in hunting pressure, which then turns into a huge increase in elk pressure and where elk go. So if there's ranches that don't do hunting, don't do outfitting, don't really care about elk, they usually end up with a lot of elk.
Sanctuary
places, yeah.
Yeah, in our region, this is Region 5, FWP's Region 5, and everywhere around here is well over 100 to 150% objective, and our shoulder season actually goes immediately after the general season, and it goes all the way to February 15th, so it's 2.5 months.
Yeah.
That you can go kill up to 2 cows per person, I think.
Yeah.
So I sit on the board of directors of Montana Outfitters and Guides Association. They're obviously pro outfitter, pro landowner, pro rancher, and we always are kind of on the front end of of what's coming down the pipe in the legislature, and not only from a hunting and outfitting standpoint, but also a lot of private property rights, things like that, even in the water and all kinds of things that would affect not only ranchers or not only outfitters but also ranchers. I encourage ranchers, outfitters alike to be involved with any of those types of associations, Montana Stock Growers, Montana Outfitters and Guides. They're all on Capitol Hill fighting for what we need them to fight for sure.
Yeah, and if you weren't familiar with Western states, you'd never know that most Western states, like local, like House and representatives, have outdoor policy, like special congressions. Like it's such a big thing in these very, very outdoor focused states that like they have entire sessions of Congress and senators that spend time on extra outdoor committees. So it's a huge impact in these very public, very outdoor focused Western states.